A letter of thanks to the Americans. The second term of President Trump will be a great hope for all liberal democracy and the people threatened by Russia, Iran, China, and also North Korea. Our Koreans are always grateful for the dedication and love of 4,300 missionaries from the United States, Britain, Australia, and Canada, who came to save us from Satan early 20th century. During the Korean War, which took place in 1950 and 1953, 1,789,000 U.S. soldiers participated, and 54,246 young soldiers were sacrificed. As a result, Korea has become a country of freedom. Moreover, America spent $67 billion to restore the destroyed Korea. We once again appreciate the sacrifice of the Americans. After the Korean War, churches in the United States sent us a huge amount of aid supplies to save suffering Koreans, where everything was destroyed and lost. Thank you again to all the church members. We will not forget the sacrificial spiritual spirit of the great Americans. We are ordinary people and working to educate the next generation of history and strength our alliance between Korea and the United States. In the winter of 1950, there was a big battle near a lake of Jangjin. It was called the Battle of Jangjin-ho, in which the U.S. Marines and Korean troops fought against the 300,000 Chinese army. At this time, the U.S. Marines abandoned all military supplies to the sea. Then about 100,000 Koreans were carried on several ships, such as Meredith's Victory, and safely withdrawn to Goje Island. They arrived at Goje Island just on the Christmas Day, so we call it the Miracle of Christmas. A ceremony to commemorate this will be held on December 11, 2020 at 10 a.m. The place is in the front of a statue of General MacArthur in Park of Freedom, Incheon, South Korea. General MacArthur was our hero, and he is still. He saved our country from international communist forces by succeeding in the Incheon landing operation, which had a success probability of only 1 over 5,000 during the Korean War. In the park, the Korea-USA Centennial Monument stands. Our first President Syngman Lee, who founded the Republic of Korea, graduated from George Washington University, Harvard, and Princeton at his young age. In 1923, in his article, the President Syngman Lee declared that communism is a virus of death, so we must fight them until the end of time. In 1948, in the process of fighting the anti-Christian forces, Japanese imperialism, and international communism, God created a new Republic of Korea through the United States and the United Nations. According to God's command, President Lee and General MacArthur drove the International Communist Party, the children of Satan, out of this land. Today, God has chosen you, President Trump. God is waiting for Korean and American Christians who are chosen to fight international communist forces to declare the word of God. On November 8, 2017, President Trump delivered a speech to the National Assembly of Korea. The men and women of the United States in uniform gave their lives in the fight against Nazism, imperialism, communism, and totalitarianism. America does not seek conflict or confrontation, but we will never run from it. History shows that there are foolish countries abandoned for testing the United States. No one should doubt the mighty power of the United States. We will not allow the United States or our allies to be threatened or attacked by enemies. We will not allow American cities to be under threat. We will never repeat the word again in this land where we fought for freedom. Our fight is not against blood and flesh, but a spiritual warfare. On September 23, 1857, at the Fulton Church in Manhattan, a young man named Jeremiah Lamford started a prayer meeting with 6 people. The prayer meetings grew larger and led to the spiritual movement of the United States. 4 years later, in 1861, the Prayer Society led to the Slave Liberation War in the United States and gave slaves the human rights given by God, making it a respected nation in the world. As a result, the America, which was almost divided into the South and the North, but with the blessing of God, became one country again. In addition, many wonderful missionaries in the United States informed the world of American culture and the world of God and Jesus, and established the country of God, which is Korea. President Ronald Reagan, the most respected president in the United States, stood at the Brandenburg Gate in the West Germany in June 12, 1987, and gave a famous speech to the citizens of West Berlin. Tear down this wall. He said, when I looked out of the Capitol a while ago, I saw a young Berliner riding on a wall with spray paint. This wall will collapse. Face becomes reality. Yes, it is. Because this barrier will collapse across Europe, because totalitarianism cannot beat faith, win truth, and win freedom. The following year, on September 17, 1988, when the Seoul Olympics were held in Korea, the communist countries were separated from the Soviet Union, and also North Korea began to collapse. Finally, on December 26, 1991, the Soviet Union, the empire of evil, collapsed. God has listened to the desperate prayers of the free-loving Americans and President Reagan, and gave us as gifts of Christmas. God made the Korea-U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty through President Syngman Lee, who was an anti-communist leader. The Korea-U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty is a Christmas gift given to all Koreans and Americans by God, so the Korea-U.S. alliance in blood cannot be destroyed by human power. All the children of Satan who want to destroy the Korea-U.S. alliance in blood will not be forgiven. God gave President Trump the strength and mission to beat Satan. We will pray that God bless President Trump and America. Thank you very much.